You ever feel like you're always starting over? Like you get inspired with a thing, you say you're going to lock in, you say this time is going to be different, and then somehow you fall off again. And every single time that you fall off, it doesn't just kill your progress, it chips away at how much you actually trust yourself, and you start losing confidence. And the hard part about it is, after a while, it's not even the simple fact that you're not accomplishing your goal that hurts. It's the fact that you have to continue to sit there and watch yourself start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. And this is what makes losing momentum feel so heavy. So today we're breaking down why you keep losing momentum, why starting and stopping is more damaging than people actually realize, and what's going to actually create the sustainable consistency that you need in order for you to actually be able to get over the hump. Because the truth is, 9 times out of 10, you don't have a motivation problem. You have a pattern problem. The pattern problem that a lot of us have is really a restarting cycle. And what this restart cycle looks like, I'm sure all of us actually go through it. We start strong, we lose energy, we disappear, we feel guilty, and then we start again. We start strong, we say, hey, this time is going to be different. You've been inspired by somebody that you see that's living your dream. And you think about the possibilities of what life can actually look like if you were to just stay consistent and do what you said that you were going to do, which is the promise that you made to yourself that this time is going to be different. I'm not going to start and stop. But then life happens. We have family problems. We got job problems. We got friend problems. Life stacks and piles up all of the problems that we have. So instead of us actually staying consistent with the thing that we said we're going to do, we end up disappearing. And then after we disappear and we look back and we see how much time that we've actually lost, we start to feel guilty. And we're like, man, had I only stayed consistent with this thing, I would probably be here by now. So we feel guilty with ourselves. We get hard on ourselves. And then we say, this time is going to be different. We restart. We go and we start strong. We lose energy again. We disappear. We feel guilty. And then we continuously go through this cycle of life until one day it's like, wow, this is going to be the last time that I say I'm going to restart. But the hardest part about this cycle isn't the fact that you continuously lose time. It's the story that you start to tell yourself when you constantly have to restart, because you begin to think, maybe this just isn't for me. Maybe I don't know how to follow through. Maybe I'm never meant to actually have what it is I can visualize. This life isn't for me. I just need to stick to what it is I'm doing. But we got to realize that momentum only dies when the identity underneath continues to reset itself. So what I mean by that is, like, the reason why we are losing momentum is because our identity has looked at us as people that are just going to continuously start and stop. We've lost trust in ourselves. We don't believe in ourselves when we say that we're going to do this thing. And although you might believe in it consciously, your subconscious mind can only see that, hey, you said you're going to do this the first time and you stopped doing it. So why would I believe you if you said that you're going to do it this time? Now is something that's subconsciously in our mind that we have naturally started to not only believe in, but that's what controls our life. Because the subconscious mind is going to go based off of pattern. It's going to be based off of habits. And that's what actually creates your identity. So the reason why it's so hard for us to continuously move forward and not lose momentum is because we have damaged our identity, because we continue to start and stop. We continue to reset. I dealt with this for such a long time. And even still to this day, like, I always go through this cycle. I start strong with a thing. I lose energy once I reach some type of adversity. And then I disappear, and time has went by. 6, 7, 8, 9 months has went by. And I started to feel guilty because it's like, wow, I said I was going to do this thing, but I wasn't actually able to do it. So let me go and start doing this thing again. It took me 3 years to get consistent with just making videos and making content. And in those 3 years, all that I would do is I would go out here, I would start creating content. When stuff didn't look the way that I wanted it to, I would restart. until I got to the point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired with myself. And I said, okay, well, in 2026, I'm going to make a change to where I'm just going to show up and do this regardless of how it is that I feel. I'm going to remain consistent with the thing until I actually get a result. Let's focus on doing this thing for 1 year consistently with no stops, no breaks. Set the standard for yourself, set the expectation that you want to have, and follow through. Is it going to be easy? Absolutely not. But neither is you remaining in the position that you are in right now. Because obviously, if you were happy and content with where it is that you were right now, you wouldn't want more. You wouldn't want change. So because you do want change, because you do want more, the only way that you're going to be able to create your new identity is by creating the pattern of habit that changes your identity. This time around, this is your call to action right now. I know you probably said that you're going to start working out in the gym. You're going to eat better. You're going to have better habits. You're going to start reading more. You're going to start meditating more. You're going to start journaling more. Whatever it is that you said that you were going to do more of, this is your call to action to make sure that you get it done. And instead of trying to focus on the long-term expectation, focus on every single day, I'm going to get good or better at this particular thing. I'm going to do it regardless of how I feel. I'm going to show up for myself. Because if you don't show up for yourself, nobody else is going to ever show up for you. Although you might be able to have accountability and people around you that will push you, you have to want it for yourself more than anybody else can ever want it for you. And once you make that decision that you're going to do this thing this time, once life hits you, you are now aware that if you continuously allow for life to make you stop and lose energy, all you're going to do is disappear. You're going to feel guilty. And then you're going to say, hey, let's go and start again. But you got to end that cycle. You start strong. When you start to lose energy, you keep focus. You stay focused on what it is that you said that you were going to accomplish. And instead of disappearing, make sure that you continue to appear and take action on the thing that you said that you were going to do. So this time around, you don't feel guilty, but you feel proud of yourself. And this is something that you're going to have to restart every single day. Because the hard part about starting strong is when you start strong, you feel motivated. You're inspired. You are literally hyped up to make sure that you can get this thing done. But that's intensity. Consistency is even when you don't feel like doing it, you have to do it anyway because you made a standard for yourself. And if you don't live up to this standard, your life will never be able to change. So instead of making the excuse that this will never be something that will work for you, make a promise to yourself and live up to that promise by remaining consistent, by doing the things that you said that you were going to do. So now that we are aware that we have been stuck inside of the restart cycle, in order for us to be able to escape that cycle, we got to know why it's actually happening. The reason why a lot of us continuously go through the starting and stopping cycle and we start strong and then we end up being guilty and saying this time is going to be different is because most people, myself included, we go too hard, way too fast. So what happens is we create burnout before we have actually built up our belief. And the reason why this happens is because we're trying to become a whole new person within a day, or we're trying to change our life and turn it around a complete 180 in 1 week. And the harsh truth is, it's not realistic for you to change your identity in 1 day or in 1 week. But because we have the mentality that this time is going to be different and I know that I can do whatever it is I tell myself that I can do, we go out here and we attract or start doing too many things at once. We have too many different habits. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves and we set these self-expectations for ourselves that, hey, I have to be here by this particular timeline or I'm a failure. And when that time comes and we have not gotten to where it is that we wanted to be, we look back and we feel guilty. But the reality is we never were able to actually build up the belief because we have burnt ourselves out way too quick. When you say that you're going to do something, it's okay for you to focus on making your life better, but you have to simplify your focus. Instead of trying to do all of these different things and change all of these things about yourself at one time, you got to be able to pick and focus on whatever the biggest thing is, and then stay consistent with that thing until that thing starts to become habit again, or that old habit starts to become a new habit. One thing that has helped me be able to do this is, instead of trying to go out here and change and pursue all of these different things at once, make a huge list of all of the things that you want to do, or some things that you might want to actually be able to change. And then prioritize that list from highest priority, meaning that this is the thing that is going to give me the biggest growth. This is what's going to change my life the most. And the things that are at the bottom of that list, the lowest priority, is not saying that we're going to neglect those things, but we need to focus on the top priority and what's going to be able to drive momentum the most. Because the cool part about momentum is, once you get started with momentum, things start to compound. But if a lot of us don't even get to the compounding mode, because we can't even simplify being able to focus on the one thing and getting that one thing to 2, and then from 2 to 4, and from 4 to 8. We just try to jump to 10. I got 10 different things that I want to do. I got this business I want to start. I got this new project that I want to do, or this new venture that I want to go out here and do, this new investment, this new thing. And you try to do all of them at once because you're guilty. You've looked in the past and you've seen how much time you've wasted. So now you feel like it's a pressure on yourself to make sure that you get it done right now. But the reason why you keep going through the cycle is you put too much pressure on yourself way too fast. So instead of continuously putting yourself through that self-inflicted pressure that you put on yourself, focus on one thing. And instead of putting the expectation that you have to do it within a week, try to do it in 12 weeks. And I say 12 weeks because 12 weeks is 1/4 of the year. If you can change one habit for 1/4 of the year, and you look back and you just remain consistent with doing that for, hey, I'm just going to do this for 90 days. I'm going to stay focused on this thing for 90 days. I'm just going to try to focus and change this one habit that I don't like about myself. And I'm going to stay consistent with it. Not intense, but consistent with it. And then trying to add on something else once we've been able to grow in that one particular area. Once you start doing that, things are going to change a lot faster for you. We got to realize that when we continuously restart, we are damaging our emotions, because every restart makes it harder for us to believe ourselves the next time around. So the problem is no longer the task that you actually have to get done. It's the disappointment that is attached to it when you don't get it done. And that's the emotional distress that keeps a lot of us stuck, which makes a lot of us start to disappear and lose energy super fast. Because you don't just lose momentum, you lose confidence in your word when you say that you're going to do something and you don't do it. So once you have lost that self-confidence, now you start to believe the excuses that you're telling yourself. Oh, I didn't do this because of this. Once life happens, once this changes, then this will be able to be me. Once I do this thing differently, then everything will be able to make the right time. It's not the right time yet, so let me continue to go out here and just wait for the right time to come. Instead of understanding that the right time is actually something that is created. The right time is right now. And the reason why you haven't got to where it is that you want to isn't because you're not capable of it, but because you just have to rebuild your self-confidence in that particular thing. You got to believe that it can be you again. You got to believe that regardless of when life hits us, there's nothing that's going to knock me off my track from me being consistent in the thing that I said I was going to do. So now we know exactly why we are stuck in the restart cycle. We're no longer stuck because we are aware of why it normally happens. Like, we put too much pressure on ourselves. We set this high expectation, and we know the emotional cost that comes with the expectations that we set when we don't do the things that we said that we were going to do. We know why disappointment starts to happen. We know why we start to believe in the excuses that we tell ourselves that this is never going to be the thing that's going to work for me. But although we are aware of that thing, how can we be able to stay focused on fixing this? Because the truth to the matter is, you're going to go through the restart cycle again. But when you do, this is how you can be able to fix it. It's a simplified strategy, and it starts with you just starting smaller than your ego wants to go. And this is something that has been extremely hard for me, because if you're anything like me, I'm a person that thinks big. I think without limits. I believe that anything in life is possible for anybody that has the will and the desire to want to accomplish it. And if there's other people out here that are doing the things that we are trying to accomplish, all that is proof that it can also be us too. It can also be you too. But in order for you to be able to get to that point, you have to start smaller than what your ego says is possible, only because you have to start to do things that you can do on a day-to-day basis, even on your worst days. Something that you can be able to repeat, even on your worst days. For me, specifically, just an example, I knew that in the beginning, I wanted to create videos. I wanted to make videos because I have a passion for speaking, got a passion for helping people. But I would constantly start and stop, not because I wasn't capable of making videos, but because I didn't know that it was a system that I can be able to simplify, that I can be able to repeat on a day-to-day basis, regardless of how I feel. At the time of this video, I'm sick, but I still showed up. Why? Because I made a standard for myself. And there's people out there that's dependent on me, even though I may not know where they are in life, what they look like, where they come from. I made a promise to myself, and I made a commitment to myself. So I chose to do something that I can repeat on a day-to-day basis. But it only happened when I stopped chasing intensity and I started focusing on the consistency aspect and started building something that I can actually sustain. In the beginning, the intensity was everybody wants to get rich from content, right? So I'm going to go out here and in 90 days, I'm going to blow up. I'm going to get 100,000 followers and I'm going to blow up. I'm going to be this mogul that everybody knows. I'm going to have all of these nice things that I can be able to offer people. But when that expectation did not necessarily happen and I went through in life and it's like, wow, life hit me. The intensity stopped when I started to focus on not what I can get from the thing, but what I can actually build if I remain consistent with doing the thing. So instead of focusing on the outcome, I started dedicating my focus and remaining consistent with the work that had to be done. And what doing that taught me is that momentum only comes from you doing repetition. It's not the emotional spikes that you go through on a day-to-day basis, because you're not going to always feel like yourself. You're not going to always be ready to show up 100%. So on the days that you don't feel 100%, the only way that you can be able to build momentum is through repetition. Repetition is the mother of all learning. It's the father of all skill. So if you want to become a master at anything, the people that are the most smartest or the people that are the most wealthiest, they didn't have a special talent that you don't have. They just did more reps. They stayed more consistent until their momentum started to show, until their results had no choice but to show up in their life because of the work that they've been able to do. So in conclusion of this particular message, you don't need another dramatic restart. You need to figure out a system that you can be able to live with long enough for you to be able to trust it. And that system starts with just choosing small daily actions. Instead of you trying to rebuild your life every single week, you need to start reinforcing your life every single day. So instead of going out here and trying something new, once the new thing doesn't work, you need to reinforce that you're going to remain consistent with that thing until you make it work for you. And it's not going to be easy. I'm never going to be a person that's going to sell people dreams, but I will tell people the truth. You're capable of doing it. You have the ability to do whatever you put your mind to. But once life hits us, because we are human, life will hit us. You got to remain consistent and continue to show up. And now you're aware of what the restart cycle looks like. So instead of just starting strong, once you do lose that energy, because you're going to lose the energy, instead of disappearing, continue to reinforce what you started strong on. Instead of just saying, hey, this is never going to be me, continuously reinforce that it will be you, because you're not going to disappear when you lose energy. Because you know, if you do disappear, all you're going to do is feel guilty. and then restart the cycle. You're going to end back up in the place that you feel like you have been for such a long time. And that's going to disappoint you more than you actually remaining consistent for you to actually be able to get the results, whatever they may be. That's what's going to make sure that you can get over that hump. So I enjoyed this video. I hope you guys did. If you did, let me know in the comments below what you like best. Make sure that you share it with somebody else that it can also impact. And until the next time, peace and love.